This is the Dominion City Tapes Ministry, bringing you the Word of God with simplicity and understanding. One word from God is all you need to turn your life around. Listen and be blessed.
Matthew chapter 20, verse 25. Jesus called them to himself and said, You know that the rulers of the Gentiles lord it over them. He's about to separate between two kinds of leadership, and I want you to watch the two styles. He said the rulers of the Gentiles lord it over them, and this style is glaring under dictatorship, but we sometimes see it even in democracy. They lord it over the people. It's where the people who have power use it for control, for intimidation, for subjugation. They use it to obtain their own means, achieve their own ends, instead of using it to serve the people. One style. And those who are great exercise authority over the people. And then verse 26, yet it shall not be so among you. Listen, in the kingdom there is a different philosophy of leadership. God's philosophy of leadership, or the kingdom philosophy of leadership, is the opposite of what is obtainable out there in the world. It shall not be so among you. Then what is the kingdom philosophy? If we are not to take the other option, he said, whosoever desires to become great among you, let him be your servant. And whosoever desires to be first among you, number one citizen, whether it's of the state, of the nation, of the local government, of the family, that is the father, of the bank, of any organization. Once you have more than one person in operation, you need government, you need leadership. The guy who thinks he's the one to be in charge should understand what leadership is. That leadership is using power to serve and benefit the people. Let him be your servant. The one who will be first among you, let him be your slave. Verse 28, just as the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve and to give his life as a ransom for many. Funny enough, it's not only Jesus Christ that have done this. Mandela has done it. Gandhi has done it. Mother Teresa has done it. Jesus Christ did it in a way no man can do it for the whole world. But some of these men have done it for their nations. It is not far-fetched. This is what this nation is crying for. Now we know there is a leadership vacuum right now in most African nations. In our own nation, there is a big vacuum. There is positional leadership, but the leadership that will meet the aspirations of the people is lacking. And this is not a slap on the present administration, because it has nothing to do with this particular one. It's a problem we've been in for years, and we might leave this one and move into it until the nation and the people of God begin to provide the solution. It's a pulpit, pull people out of the pit. This thing is one of the greatest force for reformation. This is one of the greatest force for development. This is one of the greatest force. You know, the courses we've been taking, the impact of eternal life, it has led me into all kinds of research. No nation has made one invention until the gospel came to them. The shocking thing is that so far now, all the records, and I challenge you to go and buy, there are books now on all the major inventions that occurred in the world and the names of the people who brought it. Go and buy them and read. Of all the records so far, if they are not directly ministers, they are not directly Christians, they are descendants of them. You will hear French physicists invented this, German chemists did this one, an English did this one, an American did this one. Trace the family line, trace who they were. They won't tell you those ones. No hidden nation has made one invention. Africa couldn't produce nothing until the light began to dawn. Even with the light, we haven't used it yet. We're still to use the light that has come. But I understand the problem. I understand the problem. Part of the problem is the message that has been preached to the people. They are told to meet God and fly away to heaven. But Abraham met God. God told him there is a promised land. He said, between your encounter with me and heaven, there is a bridge called promised land. After you possess promised land on earth, then you come over and possess heaven. So the Bible said Abraham left his father's house, left everything, and started making the journey according to what God directed him. When he got to the promised land, he pitched his tent, settled down with Isaac and his descendants. And then after he possessed the promised land, he began to settle in it. He now said in Hebrews 11, he began to look for a city whose builder and maker is God, and that this second city is a heavenly one. He has got the earthly one, he's now looking for a heavenly one. Those nations were told that if the gospel comes to your nation, it should change the nation. Stop looking for heaven. We have a Nigeria to save. There is no other nation we have here. We have to fight to save this nation. I don't mean fight against government. You are looking for heaven. Somebody built it. My fathers have many mansions. It was built. In your country, how many mansions? People are sleeping under the bridge. Every nation that the gospel has truly impacted is a first-class nation. Now today, many of them have reached their peak. They are backsliding, but the benefits can still speak. What is the philosophy of leadership that was brought to them? That power is not for self-aggrandizement, it's for service. You may not be expert in leadership, in management, in administration, but at least there will be character, Christian character. It will be seen in how you talk. It will be seen in your behavior. It will be seen in your compassion for the needy. You may not be good with the economy. I say, hack born again governor. This one. And under that, the state is going down. It's a shame. Church should look inward right now. I'm telling you. My challenge is, if a room is dark, are you supposed to blame the room or blame darkness? The person you should blame is light for not shining. Because darkness is defined based on light. Darkness is simply the absence of light. So Jesus said, you are the light of the world. The light of Nigeria is you, the church. I mean, don't mean organization, because that's not the church. I don't mean institution, and that's not the church. I don't mean buildings, that's not the church. We don't go to church, we are the church. Sometimes it's good to know when we have a Cyrus, because Cyrus is not a Jew, but he has inclination to religion. So he's more open to spiritual things than a Nebuchadnezzar, until God curtailed him. It's good to know when we have a Cyrus, and it's a blessing too to have one who is more open. At least you can preach to him, you can talk to him about some things, than to start calling him a prophet. And we should know when we have a Pharaoh and a Nebuchadnezzar who doesn't hear anything until God tames them. Because God has special joy in humiliating the proud and curtailing that long tail. That's the tail that drove Lucifer down and exalted cherub. It shall not be so among you. The implication is, when the church produces a leader, the nation should have rest. Because the people for the first time find somebody who can serve their interests. Let me tell you now, all kinds of agitation. Alewa people are agitating, Odudua people are agitating, Biafran people are agitating, Delta region are agitating. Some are even calling for segregation and all that. These things can stop if you can provide this nation with a national vision. The key to commitment is called vision. We have the American dream. What is the Nigerian dream? Newspapers, dangers ahead. Why can't they see the future ahead? Because there is no thing anybody is seeing. So if we get people who could help build the nation, they run away to other people's promised land. And when you talk about corporate vision, whether it's an organization, in a nation, or in a state, in a people group, a corporate vision is a vision that represents the interest of all the people involved. Then at that time, they can drop their individual vision, realizing that in fulfilling this corporate vision, their individual aspirations is realized. You see how it creates unity. God told Abraham, nations are in thy womb. You're going to be a father of nations. But I'm going to give these nations a covenant to turn them into one nation. Because Judah can become his own nation. Ephraim can become his own nation. All these can become their own nation. But they will be weak. How you will know is when they have to play at the global scene. You will see their weaknesses. Diversity is strength. We need the Hausas, we need the Igbos, we need the Yorubas. It is strength. The more diverse we are, the stronger we are, and the more sophisticated we can be. Our diversity is our problem now, when it should have been our advantage. Because what we need is a national vision that does not represent the interests of just one group. If not, why are you telling others to be involved? If you want a corporate vision, the first thing you have to ask is, what are the dreams, the aspirations of the people that are going to be involved in this? Then you chart it. The implication is everybody will drop their sword and walk towards a common goal. Do you know there is no nation as diverse as US? Do you know? They have Arab Americans, African Americans, Latin Americans, Chinese Americans, Japanese Americans, Korea Americans, English Americans, Northern Ireland Americans, wherever you like. It's a nation that has all the nations. Of course, each state is big enough to be a nation on its own. Of course, some states you enter there, it's as if you're in another nation, because they have different constitutions and other, except that everything submits to the national constitution, but they have their own. That nation should have divided into 50 countries. Nobody would take it. The American dream. Everyone said the American dream. Now let's say the other one, the Nigerian dream. We are going to have to get it, because where there is no vision, what happens to the people? We don't have an option but to get it. I'm sure the founding fathers had some things in their mind. I heard Nagaro saying that that they didn't see very far. There are some things they saw, but they didn't see some of the problems. Turning back after running away, there were problems they did not foresee. They didn't address them in the laying of the foundation. You know, after you have raised the skyscraper, you realize that there were foundational mistakes. It becomes a very big problem, because foundation is right at the root of the whole thing. There were other problems created by those who ruled us, colonized us. They created those problems to serve their interests when they were putting all these different people groups together. Now we need to chart a course for ourselves and not keep blaming the white man. Mr. Pastor, why are you talking to us? Am I the president? Some of you are going to be. Some of you are going to be governors. Some of you are going to be senators. So the problem we have, trying to train these people to use left hand in old age, it doesn't work. You don't train them when they get to power. We have to get them before they get there. So if you think that my concern is those who are there now, no, it is those who are about to get there. Because this thing must stop. You know, there is a limit to wrongdoing. There's a level it gets to, it backfires. So sometimes leadership problem, they fail to correct it from the top. It gets to a point, it gets corrected from the bottom, and usually that is disorder. The church, leadership vacuum in the nations. Where are the days of Abraham Lincoln? Now, if I start calling those ones who think, okay, US, where are the days of Zeke? Where are the days of those great leaders, Tafawa Balewa? Where are the days of Obafemi Awolowo? Where are the days of leaders who had the interests of their people at heart? The opposite of servant leadership is self-serving leadership. That's what we're experiencing in Africa. Win election to loot, grab. You know, a friend of mine working in the exchange here was telling me something, and it was very funny, because there's an accusation made against the leader. So some of them were reacting, and he was now telling me something. He said, you know, sometimes the business people don't find enough exchange to buy anymore. I said, why? He said, some weeks you just come here this leader will come, his own people, clear up everything. Then we'll tell the people, go down to Ikeja, you will find, or somewhere in Cyril or whatever. They get there, it has been cleared up. What is the problem? I talked to one of the leaders. What is the real problem? They don't believe in the Nigerian nation. They don't see any future. Because of that, each one is trying to save himself. This opportunity God has given me, has blessed me, is for me to secure my future. So that's why you get to South Africa, the best hospital there, built by a Nigerian, and they have airline here flying people from here to that place. And where is the tax going? To South African economy. That is the tax that should have been helping to develop our economy. You need to see the investments our leaders have made around the nation. These are the things that should have been helping this economy. We have been providing jobs for you. We have been solving a number of other problems. What is the problem? They don't believe in the system. They all think it will collapse one day. And of course, the moment they sense that, take the next available flight out. Many of them, their families are out already. Children studying in different, and or whatever. Who is going to suffer? The common man. Some of you are calling for Nigeria to burn. Stop praying such prayer. Because guess who will suffer? It is you. Even if you catch them and kill them, their children will be eating the money abroad. Where will the answer come from? I want to make a suggestion here. It's actually a principle. You know the problem with leadership, why it is so scarce? It's because leadership is not what you do. It is first who you are. That is the problem. All leadership schools, they found this truth out. That the cornerstone of leadership is character. Everyone say that word. That is why it is so hard to be a true leader. Listen very carefully now. Listen very carefully. They have found out it doesn't matter, you can be a politician, play on the people, read the 48 laws of power, master all the things they've studied in the prince, learn all the strategies in political science, come up there. But the problem is, if you are not it, doing it will not work. For example, love for people cannot be feigned. You don't love people, you don't love people. You are a tribalist, you are a tribalist. You are a religious fanatic, you are a religious fanatic. Whether you are a politician or anything, it doesn't count. You see, because first of all, this thing has to do with who you are. Before, there are two dimensions. There is the doing part. They are supposed to execute certain things on behalf of the people. There are some jobs they have to get done. But this thing is not first about building roads. This thing is not first about giving us steady light. This thing is first about who is this man that is our leader. Character is who you are. It's not what people think you are. It is exactly who you are. If there is a bomb blast and the president comes there, he's supposed to console the people. Clinton, he will probably kneel down, show empathy, and talk to the people. This is the man. He is just him. There are qualifications for leadership. All of them are character traits. Now see the problem here. Character cannot be bought. It can't learn it in school. It's a fruit that is cultivated. Let's look at just two of the character traits required to make one a leader. One is genuine love and concern for the people you are leading. Where will you find love? They don't buy it in the market. You can't get it from being a graduate of political science school. You can't get it by being a professor of political science. Because love is the opposite of selfishness. Love is selfless. That's what made the man die on the cross. He said, you see how the Son of Man came not to be served, but to serve and to give his life. If this will save the people. Let's look at one of those character traits. Integrity. You can't buy it. You cannot buy it. There are 5 levels of leadership. The lowest level, usually actually, is not even leadership. But at least many people start from there. It's called positional leadership. Everyone say positional leadership. What's positional leadership? The boss. Oga. Baba. Now when you see a husband trying to rule the family. I'm the head of this family. You must obey me. He's a positional leader. If you have to say that you are the head, for it to be known that you are the head, there is no head. trying to boss it over the wife. That's what Jesus is saying. That's how the Gentiles rule among you. It shall not be. The positional leader gets his security from titles, from position. He gets his authority from position and all the jurisdiction within that authority. That is why the people who follow such leaders follow them because they have to, not because they want to. That's leadership by force. I will sack you if you don't sleep with me. If you don't do what I said, you lose your job. So because there is a penalty to pay, there is a punishment to bear, there is something you may lose, you are forced to obey. That is not leadership. So you see why we obey the military when you see that thing in their hand. They say we want to do rally to show that we don't like the increase in fuel. They say don't come out to, whether it's your political right, legal right, social right, human right, whatever right. Don't appear. And of course, this is not and then you say we are appearing. Your head just came out from the window of God. It's only those who want to die that still go ahead. That's why I respect these human rights guys. They've tried. Believe me, they have tried. They have to. Ghani and the rest. The host has said, if there is one person that he admires in this nation, that if he is not a preacher, he will have taken his direction, is Ghani Fawemi. Gandhi declared compulsory fasting until you let my people go. Let my people go. But God didn't give him the rod of Moses to turn to serpent or anything. So he had to use personal suffering. I will die till you let them. When the British imperialists saw that the man was getting near to them, they would come and mobilize him by force. Put him under medication. They said they won't want his blood on their head. It will lead to, there's 1 billion people here in this, above 1 billion. I don't know, I think about 800 million as at that time, or maybe less. We'll have problem on our hand. They will get him where do all that. They will arrest him, put him in prison. They will release him back. Let him not die in prison. You need to see one small man shook the Great Britain when Britain was the real Great Britain. What is it? Concern for. He had opportunity. They offered them all sorts of things. He could calm down. Let my people. That if the white man should be free, the Indians are also human beings created in God's image. They have right to be free. The British national anthem, the Queen, born to rule over. You know what they thought the third world, the rest of the nations they colonized, born to rule over us, born to rule, not to serve. Another, who is the one born to serve? The Queen is born to serve us for being our leader. That is Bible. And by serving us, you can rule us. Positional leadership. Now, how you know the weakness of that thing is the day people can find their way around the punishment or that threat. They will show you their true color. That is the day you find that they were not following you at all. Or the day you take a step beyond your realm of stated authority. If it's in a department or in an organization, you have certain realm of authority. The day you want somebody to help you beyond what is stated in the book, this is his sphere of authority, this is his department, this is that. The day you need cooperation to achieve other things, you will see who they are. They were not following you at all. They were just forced to. They have to. Leadership by force. I was speaking in Jaws. I was teaching on leadership, and I read this, and one of the people asked me a question. You know what he said? He said, "Pastor, what are you talking about?" That's why sometimes I don't understand the Bible. He said, if the leader is a servant of the people, there will be disorder and anarchy everywhere, because he can't control, he can't maintain order. People will be doing what they want. I said, "Sir, I understand your concern, but can I explain something to you?" I said, the second level of leadership is called leadership by influence. Leadership by what? It's called relational level of leadership. What is the secret of that level? It's not force. The secret of the leader doesn't come from his position or title or whatever. You see, the secret of that level is meeting the needs of the people, the aspirations of the people. By touching their heart, touching their lives, what happens is that the people now love the leader. They follow you because they want to, not because they have to. Now, I will get get you to understand something. That's why Jesus built an organization where you don't force people to be members. Because if everybody had decided they are not going to come to church next week, you can't go to their house and use gun. Oh yeah, move service. Move. You see that the church was built to be a voluntary organization. Now, if they decide they are not going to give, we must give. Oh yeah, bring the money. Bring it all. There is nothing to threaten them with. Meaning that positional pastors learn their lesson. When they finish suffering, if people's needs are not being met, what are you preaching? Is it solving their problem? When they come, they are sick. Are they getting healed? When they come, but when you are meeting their needs, nobody can stop them from coming there. If you like, bam, miracle. There is one of our ex-presidents. He made mistakes, but the guy empowered people. In every sphere of this national life, you will meet somebody who he empowered. Very little. You are calling a meeting on how to deal with him. So 2 people in the meeting are people he empowered. When they finish, they take the fire to him. See, this one who rise alone, eat alone, they will die alone. When the leader first creates a program that are people oriented, create things that are for the interest of the people, then what happens is that the people, by seeing that, now trust him. There is one bridge called TRUST. Without it, you can't succeed as a leader. Do you know that a leader, you might have good intention, but the people you are leading, koro. There are 2 things about creating trust. First is communication. The purpose of communication is to create understanding, because misunderstanding is missing understanding. So if you have problem with communicating the vision, communicating the interest, doing that well, or maybe when the people ask questions, you lash them, you can't take. The first thing is that there will be many things they don't understand, and you are not clearing it, and it will be piling, and one will be building upon another, and one will be building upon another, and the man might even have good interest, but somewhere along the line he has lost leadership because he's not a listening person, and he will not communicate with the people. You see why when this other group gain power, they silence the people. No freedom of speech, no freedom. It builds agitation, it builds anger, it builds wrath, it builds unrest. It gets to a point, it reaches a crescendo, a burst, and it becomes a national crisis. It's even better to let them express it. They want to have a peaceful whatever. Provide security so that it doesn't get out of hand, but allow them to march. By the time they finish expressing, okay, what is the problem? Let us know. Okay, we have heard. We are even doing something about it, but maybe we are not seeing it. Okay, we will take it. Do you know that some leaders will even take it? They might never implement it, but the fact that they listen to you calms you down. Are you hearing what I'm saying? Relational level of leadership. The principle there said, before you ask people for hand, touch their heart first. But why? When you are ministry, when you are leadership, when whatever, that's why even organizations are beginning to learn that customer service is a secret. All this that you want to make profit is not enough. What are you giving in return for what you are collecting? The problem is that the man that is using the wrong style of leadership is actually not happy himself. His vision is not working. The people are not cooperating. Nothing is moving ahead. He doesn't know why. His style is defeating his program. God has been ruling the world for ages. He has understood all the secret behind all these things. So when God talks, listen, how old are you, sir? 90 years. The man is, his years is from eternity to eternity. If we trace eternity back, they are telling us that earth is billions of years old. And God has been existing before he made the earth. Before the manufacturer makes a product, which one existed first? He has seen civilizations rise and fall. When God makes a statement, there is more wisdom in his statement than in a whole book. The man writes one statement. Here is a secret here. David understood servant leadership. Even when he didn't have position, there was a king who had position named Saul. And there was a problem threatening the nation called Goliath and the Philistines. The man who had position will not risk anything to take care of that. Goliath gets up, the king hides because he loves his life. And because the corruption started from the head, the rest of the people will hide. A young boy who didn't have position, but he had love for Israel and love for the God of Israel, came to give food to his brothers and saw a national problem. What are the giants facing Nigeria now? They can be listed. The economic giant, the morality giant, corruption, the leadership giant, and all of these other giants. David came up and said, who is this uncircumcised Philistine that he would defy the armies of the living God? He said, I will take care of this thing. Watch out. What he said was heard by the soldiers, and he wasn't a soldier. He was a shepherd boy. The thing got to the palace. I told them, close this school down. Give us 2 days. We will clean up all the problems you have here. Stop courtesy, you can't stop. You think those boys want to die? They are good people. There are some things you inject into the man's problem is nature problem primarily. The gospel is not just to go and forgive their sins, but to change their nature. The nature is what is responsible for the character, the products, the conduct you see. Why can't you do the right thing? Naaman is a leper, but you are interested in his money instead of curing his leprosy. These politicians their leprosy is smelling. Pastors leave their job and they start going after Ghana must go. And the leprosy of Naaman transferred to the young prophet who was after the money. So the corruption you think is a problem is now in the pulpit. The prophet is the last hope, not the legal institution. Because when the judges and the lawyers fail, the last hope is the pulpit of any nation. The pulpit fails, the nation disintegrates. When truth has fallen in the street, that's one place where the truth can still be heard. And God said, if I can find a man, then I can start rebuilding the whole nation. Problem is, when I now, even in my house, I can't find a man, then he said, judgment will have to have a way in the land. I sought for a man among them to stand in the gap. I told the pastor, all this money you are running after, where has he led you? All those cars you got by lying, they have all burnt. The ones that won't burn, one will almost kill him. And then the whole car scatters. Where is it now? Cosmetic prosperity. It's like this thing women put in their lips, in their eye. The sun rises, it's gone. The blessing of the Lord, it make it rich and has no sorrow. The man asked me the question, and I said, sir, 2 things will help you understand it. Number 1, if an armed robber catches you unaware or enters your house but you are not prepared, he said, I will defend myself. I said, no, if you are not prepared. Okay, let's take a civilian. An armed robber invades him. He said, lie down. Will he lie down? Yes. Hands up. Will you hands up? Yes. Why? That thing in the hand. But is the man really obeying? He is made to obey, so he obeys. If for any reason there is a way he can get an advantage, or there is a minus of that thing that makes people obey. I said, can you see false leadership is like raping the people you are leading? It's like rape. Because a person with gun, bend down, spare your leg. See, a girl may be good, but the gun now made her. She has a choice to choose between dying and being humiliated that way. Is that leadership? But you obeyed, you followed. Okay, move. You are moving, you are following. Is that leadership? And he looked at me. But then how do you make the people do things? I said, servant leadership doesn't mean you lose authority, but it means that the primary purpose of that authority is to serve the people and to protect the righteous. The Bible says rulers are not terrors to good conduct. But then when you see the other ones who are deviants and who are problems, you use that authority to bring them to order, because even God, who is teaching us this, uses it. That's why a government of love operated by God created hell. Love made hell. Because in your hospital you have isolation ward, like UNTH and teaching hospital, loot, because somebody has a disease that can spread to others, harm other people. No, instead of killing 1 million people, you isolate the 2 people who have it until they get cured. If they don't get cured, they die there, so they don't let other people die with them. So the same way, some people can't live civil lives. They can't behave like, they don't believe in order. They're a threat to lives and properties of other people. We'll put them behind bars. That is love. Everyone say love. Say justice. He said, God said, if your enemy slap you here, slap you here. There are personal ethics. Read the Bible well. And there are social ethics. There are civil ethics. He said that one in authority does not bear the sword in vain. He's a minister of God appointed to avenge on the evildoers. Part of that right given to them by God is the right to take life, as long as it's life of the wicked and the offense committed merits capital punishment. So you see, it is blood that is shed, but it's not counted to them as bloodshed. But a ruler can be destroyed by shedding innocent blood. Then I say servant leadership means your program is people oriented, is the interest of the people that is driving you. And then what happens? You gain their trust. So David did that because he started risking his life for Israel. Israel loved him. He wasn't in position, but Israel will say David killed 10,000, but the president killed how many? 1,000. He got angry. And he started sending assassins to eliminate the person who didn't do anything. You are trying to subvert my government. No, he's not subverting your government. He's just helping your government. But the people are saying what they are observing. He got angry. He sent the assassins to his house. But by this time, David was in love with the king's daughter. The king's daughter helps him escape. He started looking for his life everywhere. What is it? The people say David killed 10,000. He just solved our problem. It was a national problem. He even made your government last, because he has given your government a facelift. But the same person that is under the administration, that is doing the right thing, you want to eliminate him. Okay. Finally, David ended up on the throne, but he became a leader before he got the position. There are people who don't have position. They are not elected into offices, but people, when they talk, the people listen. Are you hearing what I'm saying? Start cultivating. The acting they have is not called position, it is called influence. Everyone say influence. Genuine leadership is influence. David's son Solomon ruled the nation of Israel, did a very good job. Turned that nation into a great nation. Nation prospered. Wise man, richest man, raised people all over the place. His son got into power after him. Got positional power. Rehoboam by name got into power. Just before he made his first public address, the elders called him and said, young man, your father was the greatest king that ever. He even became greater than his father David. Very wise man. His secret was that when he started, he went after the heart of the people. He went after God. He went after the people by carrying out programs after the people. Built a temple, started developing the nation, did things that way. He was serving the people, and then the people trusted him and followed him. Anything he said, they would do it. So they said to him, serve this nation. Don't assume that because you have inherited power that means leadership. Serve the people, then the people will serve you all the days of your life. Start first by sowing, you will reap. He told the elders, you don't know what you're talking about. Let me tell you, if my father whipped them with koboko, I'm going to whip them with iron. If there was any area where he just started, he finished answering the elders that way. They went. So young men came around him and told him, don't you understand? If you don't use force and brutality, nobody will respect you, especially now you are young. Let them know, use force. Let them know that you are the one in charge. So he got up, first public political address. He started announcing laws against the people, making restrictions, creating things, making the lives of the people tougher. You know what happened? That day, he lost 10 states out of the 12 states he was ruling. There were 12 states, and each of those states can become nations on themselves. 12 states that made that nation one nation. God swore to keep Israel one. One foolish leader who did not understand influence broke the nation into two. Two countries came out. The other people searched for a king and got themselves a king. And 10 of the tribes became a country, got their own president, and started ruling themselves. And the man remained in charge of his own personal tribe. But because the tribe of Judah, they were from the descendants of David, they just stayed with Rehoboam. And one other tribe joined them. When all you have in your house is threat, either behave or you will get pocket money this year. Sometimes you need it too. But if that's all you have over your children, wait till they grow up and become adult. You're going to lose them. The moment they can escape that your threat. Are you threatening me with money when I'm now earning in a bank? Are you threatening me? You can't leave this house once it's 6 p.m. when I'm now on campus. Once that spell of whatever, they break that loose, they become rebels. You see then that you are not their leader. That's why they could be listening to somebody else instead of their parents. Jesus said, Peter, flesh and blood did not reveal this to you. He said, my Father which is in heaven revealed it to you. Praised him. The guy felt good. Can you imagine this man, son of God, said this about me? There must be something. Next time he put his head into the devil's channel and got some news and came and broadcasted. The man said, get thee behind me, Satan. Hey, what kind of person is this? How can he disgrace a person like me in the public like this? But you see, I can take the flogging because I know he loves me. He rose from the dead. He wanted to see all the disciples, but he sent special message to Peter. After denying him, special message. Tell my brethren and especially Peter, I want to see him. Then the scripture said after he has appeared to all of them, he now paid Peter a personal visit. He appeared to him alone, on his own, to talk about future. You see why that man was ready to die for him. Of course, when his time was up, he said, the only thing is turn me upside down. I don't want them to start saying I was crucified like my Lord. Let it be. Can you see that all the people he led died for him? There is a level you can get to leadership. People can die for you. Now, I understand we don't want dictators in civilian clothing. Just like the scripture says, we don't want wolves in sheep clothing. Yes, that's why we should look at character. Check track records. Because a wolf may change color, but it can't change its nature. Servant leadership. Leaders that care for the people. Transformational leadership. That is the level of empowerment. This one is not just having the interest of the people, meeting our spiritual needs. This one is empowering people, raising people into leadership, making men. This one will come and say, see me, see who I have become today. It is because of this man's investment. And in empowerment, there is the aspect they talk about in organizational management where you do delegation and give authority to do it. That's a part. There is another side to empowerment, which is manpower development, people development, training, building people's future, equipping them to take their future, creating an enabling environment. You're not giving them free food or free anything, but you're creating an environment that will now enable them to release their potentials. You are giving them the training, the expertise, the skills that will enable them to release their potential. That's why any nation that plays with education, any nation that plays with developing the next generation is doomed. Mandela found out that I don't have to stay in position to remain the leader. Allow Mbeki come over. You think if Mandela and Mbeki talks and Mbeki contradicts him, which one do you think South Africans will listen to? Influence. People see what you have done for them. Now they carry trust and give it to you. You build it over time. You can't buy trust. You can't cajole people to trust you. You can't force them to trust you. Somebody was coming for counseling. He said, you need to talk to her. She doesn't trust me. He's talking about his wife. I said, before she married you, she trusted you. How did you lose all this trust? You are greeting a sister. She is looking. I said, how? You broke the trust, betrayed the trust that was invested. Now you betrayed it. You can't force it to come back. You know what you're going to do? You have to earn it back. Trust is earned. Say it. Trust is earned. They give you this position to be the governor. You betray the whole state. You betray the whole organization. You betray the whole nation. After everything, you want to start talking to us anyhow. You got to earn it. And how? Start carrying out people-oriented act. Change. And you know, that trusting is a wonderful thing. It's like a woman. Yeah, knowing how that just start wrapping her again. You know, I love you. All those things is a mistake. Do you know it doesn't make you a smaller leader to apologize? Do you know that many leaders, even when they mess in the public, why are you laughing? Why are you laughing? Are you mad? What are you looking at? It can even slap you on top of it. But you can say, sorry. We understand that it's human. Everyone say it's human. Sorry. You know, I'm human. I'm not God. I'm finite. I'm not infinite. I'm potent, but I'm not omnipotent. I may have some wisdom, but I don't have all wisdom. So, please give it to me there. But we still have good interest. And we are open to contribution. Even if he doesn't now perfect the fact that he connected with the people. Because the head of the trailer and the back needs that connection. So that there can be leadership and followership. They said if you are leading and nobody is following, you're only taking a walk. Leadership. Empower people. Organizations that invest in manpower development rises and keep rising. Those who believe in belittling people will remain little. When you belittle, you will belittle. You want to make people small, you will die small. Look at the one we serve. He is called King of Kings. Do you know why he's King of Kings? In Revelation chapter 1 said, he has made us kings and what? Priests. The only leader that wants every follower to end up a leader. That is the kingdom philosophy of leadership. The purpose of leadership is to make leaders. The purpose of leadership is not to lead followers. You start that place, but you end them up in their own area of leadership. Because everybody has a gift and a calling and then an area of expertise. And you can make them, empower them to become a champion in that area. And that creates personal satisfaction, personal fulfillment. And you notice that the people are growing on their own. And then this, their individual growth now culminates in what they call national growth and national development. It is not the government that develops a nation. It is the people that are developed by the government that ends up building the great nation. It was not the government that created and invented most of the things that made America great. It's the individuals. But it was government that created an environment that allowed those gifts and potentials in them to come out. The economy will not be built by a government. This economy, the government, is this private sector, the individuals. A government that believes in empowering the people. That level of leadership commands the highest level of followership. People can die for, people can do anything. It's not just meeting my give me food, dash me food. That's why we have to go beyond poverty alleviation, treating symptoms to wealth creation. We have to go beyond distribution economy to production. Galatians 5:22, you can just add that. The fruit of the Spirit is love. See, the first is love, is joy, is peace, is long suffering, is kindness, is goodness, is faithfulness. Look at the word faithfulness. That's trustworthiness, integrity, loyalty. Is gentleness, is self-control, temperance. Against such there is no law. Now, what the Bible is telling us is that when a Christian cultivates his character, develops his inward man, and starts bearing the fruits of the Spirit, he becomes the answer for the yearnings of society. Because in every field of life, people are looking for leaders. You don't have to be the president to know that you are leading. In every field where you are, there are people you can influence. But you can't influence them if you don't have the cornerstone called character. Christianity gives us two major advantages when it comes to leadership. One is that the Bible says when the Holy Spirit is poured out, upon all flesh, your sons and daughters shall not only prophesy, but they shall see visions. Have you caught any national vision? Don't go vying for any post until you have a vision for that part of the country. The purpose of the Holy Spirit, 5 purposes of the Holy Spirit, but one of the major one is not just to make you talk in tongues. If your tongue doesn't open your eyes to see a future, you have not spoken the right tongue. You may not have received that gift, but you are not using it right. He said it will impart to everyone visions. The older ones will dream dreams. Dreams and visions are the same, but the difference is the ones that are dreaming now lack the ability to execute. The ones that envision still have the power. They still are in their youth. They can still carry out and pursue what they are dreaming about. But the ones that are older are seeing the thing when they have wasted their youth. So it leaves you like a dream, because you sleep in the night, dream, you wake up, is as if it's not real. They see the possibilities, what can be. But when they had the opportunity to do something, they didn't. And now they are going to their grave. But the young man can still back his vision with action. One of the major qualifications of leadership is vision. Those who see ahead are the ones who take the lead. The other one, character, integrity, trustworthiness. Yeah, you see that by our ability to receive the divine nature and cultivate it, we have conquered 60% of what it takes to be a leader. Leadership vacuum in a nation that has the church. It tells us that the church is not doing her job. We have left building character, building people's woman, and we are more interested in the outward man. You prosper, you have a baby, you do all that. There's nothing wrong. We have those needs and we want God to meet it, but that's not the primary issue. It is first being and then doing. Success is first being before having. You are not successful because you have. You are successful because you are. Because whatever you are not, when you have it, over time you will lose it, because you lack the capacity to hold it. That's why in ministry we say anointing can shoot you up, but it is character that keeps you up. If the thing shoots you up and character is not there, get ready, you are going to kiss the bottom again. It's the same thing with other affairs of life. One man has built an organization that is 2,000 years old. It is the richest organization on earth, the most widespread organization. It's the fastest growing organization. It's growing every minute. The leader has died though. The thing is stronger in his absence than when he was present. What is the secret? Talk to the Lord to help you. Our purpose is not to criticize the government or anybody. It's to think about the future, how to solve the problem. And the future is you and I. God. The fruit of the Spirit is love, is gentleness. What is happening in my own life? Am I producing these characters? Am I producing these qualities? We need to know how serious this thing is. What can make an Igbo man become a leader that other tribes in Nigeria can accept? What can make an Hausa man become a leader that other tribes in Nigeria will accept and believe and love? What can make a Yoruba man become a leader that other tribes will love and cherish? The interests of the people. You are going to pray, because I know you walk somewhere there. I don't know, in your marriage, wherever selfishness causes abortion of leadership. Pray. You're going to pray. I want us to take this thing serious, because I don't know who I'm talking to. I feel strong. Somebody here is going to be in political office in a couple of years down the line. Somebody here don't even know that power is around your corner. As you are hearing me now, you don't even know power is somewhere. You are not far from it now. Somebody here, God sent me here to talk to you today. You have gone around this mountain long enough. It's time to move forward. Don't wish that this nation will break or scatter. You don't understand. This is your own promised land that God gave you. We've got to build this nation, and if need be, to defend it. We've got to protect our nation. We've got to defend it. We've had to build it. You are looking for heaven where somebody built. The one where Jesus said, let thy kingdom come, so that your will be done on earth the way it is done in heaven. Let it be done. That's the prayer you're going to pray. May your kingdom come to this nation. May it come into our leadership. Let it affect the values of the kingdom. the principles of the kingdom, God's system, God's way of thinking. Let it change our social system. Let it change our judicial system. Let it change our political system. Let it change our economic system. Let it change our educational system. Let it come in the church, oh God. Let there be a return to ethics and morality. Let there be a return to principles.
I'm sure you've been blessed by this message. For other inspiring messages by Pastor David Ogbueli, contact the Tips Department of any Dominion City chapter all over the nation or Dominion City Lagos. Your life will never be the same again.